Hi, welcome back to Soul Based Studio. Today's topic is mangroves. And the reason I did this drawing is because mangroves are really important. But that's not the only reason. The other reason is, is that many, many years ago, I was down in Palau, in Micronesia. And I ended up, don't ask, on a little bamboo raft inside a mangrove forest where there were saltwater crocodiles. That goes down as being one of the most foolish things I did. Obviously, I survived. I'm still here. But what was cool about being inside the mangrove swamp, stuck in that bamboo raft there, um, was that you could hear nothing except the little sort of the little crab claws going snickety, snickety, snick. And it was such a completely different world in there because it was sort of, these are trees, but they're in the water, they're in the seawater. And there's all this stuff living in there, and it felt very jungly, but very dangerous, but very fascinating. So anyways, many years later, I did this drawing of the mangroves, as it was in a show in September. And as you can see in the drawing, there are fish and a baby shark. And mangroves they're nurseries. They are nurseries for little baby fish and baby this and baby that have a chance to grow larger in the safety of all these roots. They are also coastline protections. They grow along the coastlines of a lot of tropical countries. Half in they're in salt water, so they have this very unique system of dealing with all that salt. But they protect the shoreline against all the storms. And they're keystone species. They are full of all kinds of animals that grow there, saltwater crocodiles included. But there's birds that use it as nesting places, and there's crustaceans, and there's fish, and there's snakes, and there's frogs, and there's all kinds of things that live in the mangroves. And they really are very, very important, but they are disappearing. Most of the drawings that I do, certainly since 2010, have been around things that are endangered. So sort of the focus of this YouTube channel is to highlight the endangered, and throw in my art too, because that's what I love to do. So anyways, there's my mangrove drawing. I got into doing circles maybe because of the ocean theme. I just like circles. It's 30 centimeters across, and it's all in color pencil. Anyways, so mangroves, there's 3 different kinds. There's black, red, and the white. And they grow in different areas. You can see they hug the shorelines. And they really are a protection against, storms, and especially now with the rising sea waters and stuff, the shorelines around the world are going to get greatly impacted by this. Well, they already are, but it's going to get even worse. So the mangroves are really, really important, but they're disappearing. 50% of them in certain areas, 50% of them have gone already. And they are in these areas here. I'm not doing this right. Okay, so yeah, so this is one kind. And they have these really cool roots. They sort of you can see how they can protect the shoreline, and also how they can become hiding places for little things that want to grow big before they go out into the open ocean, where there are bigger things that will eat them. Yeah, and they're half in and half out of the water. And most of them, you can see, this is not the best map, but most of them, you can see the green areas there. A lot of them over in Southeast Asia, along the coast of Africa and Madagascar, in this area here, along the coast of South America, Central America. Florida in America has one of the biggest mangrove forests is in Florida. And they're very protected there. But they're losing a lot of ground because of development and habitat destruction and agriculture and aquaculture. Mankind has this really nasty ability to just sort of munch its way across the planet. But yeah, the mangroves are really important. And you can see here some of the, things that live in the mangroves underwater. And there's also a really good place for oysters and shellfish to grow inside here. Oops. Right. And they propagate in a really fascinating way. I did not know this. You see, every time I do one of these drawings, by the way, every time I do a drawing, I research. I love going into Google. I love going into Wikipedia and learning stuff. Most of every drawing I do, not even most, but most of the drawings I do, at least, have as much fact as I can pack in there without boring the viewer. But I want people to know what this stuff is. It's not just a drawing. I'm going to flip back to say that nature illustration is this meld of art, science, and education. You do the art, you do the research, you attach the research and little interesting bits and pieces of fact when you display it, and you teach people, and people learn. Learning is fun. Learning is really cool. I love learning. Okay, so anyways, they propagate really interestingly. They have these seed pods, and look, they're pokey at the bottom. And they hang from the trees until they're germinated and they're ripe and they're ready to go. And then they go plunk and they fall down into the water. And if the tide is right, and because they're in really muddy ground or soil or half in out of the water, a lot of them just sort of stab into the ground, and they're into the ground and they take root and off they go. Of course, sometimes the tides aren't right, or the wind is too strong, or the waves are too strong. And so they can float on the surface of the water for 1 year, germinated, and do photosynthesis as they're lying there, just lying in the lying in the open ocean. And the sun comes down, photosynthesis, they're growing away until finally, in some far offshore or island or some other place, they say, oh, look, land. And they can attach themselves and off they go again. They are so cool. See, there they are, just floating away, just waiting, for the right time. So like I say, they're being lost, as so much of it is. We're losing way too much, way too fast. This is why I'm struggling to get through these YouTube channels. Feel free to laugh at any time, by the way, at me or with me. This is really a work in progress. But anyways, reforestation is really important for these mangroves. And there's a lot of places around the world that have reforestation projects for mangroves right now. And they're supported by environmental groups and governments that understand we need these to protect the shoreline and to give sea life and food places to grow. And the way they have usually reforested is by hand, so you get a bunch of people with a bunch of seedlings and off they go, and there's a limited number of places they can get to. This is not easy work, and it's time consuming. And a lot of times it doesn't work because the main reasons that there are no more mangroves there is because of either agriculture or aquaculture or development or something. So there's another possibility, though, that people have latched on to, and it's not just with the mangroves. For reforestation up north in other areas where boreal forests and temperate forests are being overlogged and need to be replanted. They're using drones, and they can obviously cover ground that people can't, and they can plant a lot faster. And so they've had some great successes with using drones, and a lot of countries are using them now. And so, this is good. This is good. I hope. Um, this is how it's done by hand. This is labor intensive. Good community work, though. People working together is a good thing. People working together is a really good thing, on the same page. Everybody sort of feels like they're contributing. And hopefully these trees will grow big and be home to baby sharks and baby fish and oysters and stuff. Okay. Yes, reforesters, heroes. They are. Okay, so how can we all help? What can we do to help? Well, I advocate this in any situation. The first and best thing to do for any of this stuff, for any of the endangered ecosystems and species, learn more about them. Get curious. Ask why. Do some research. Neighbor's motorcycle, ignore that. And be prepared to be amazed. There's so much information on the internet right now. It's fascinating. Every time I do a drawing, every time I do some research for these channels, I find something that I didn't know before. And I think, isn't that just the coolest thing? You know? And then get involved, share what you've learned. Talk to people, say, hey, guess what I found out about mangroves? Okay, maybe not everybody's going to get all excited. You never know. Just don't. You could, just spread the word and connect with organizations that help. But the internet has a wealth of information. It's really amazing how much information. This is not just, the internet, as they keep saying, is not just showing people what you had for lunch. There's an awful lot of information out there. And the more we learn, the better off everything is. And if you are able to, or if you feel the importance of this, or if you live in an area where mangroves are important to your environment, and you can donate to mangrove reforestation projects. You probably adopt a mangrove tree. There's a lot of these options available. And start nature journaling. Why not? Because here's the mantra that I will keep repeating for these things. The best way to learn about nature is through the hand and a pencil. You have to focus. That's what nature illustration is. You're focusing on the drawing. You're focusing on what it looks like. This is not about how you feel about the subject. This is about the subject. How does it grow? How does it move? What does it look like if you're drawing something with eyes? Or how are the eyes positioned in the head? So the best way to learn about it is through the hand and a pencil. Somebody said that. I don't know who it was, but I'm using it. What I added to that was that the more you draw, the more you learn. And the more you learn, the more you love. And the more you love, the more you want to protect. And there's the golden ring right there. I'm doing this, and I'm trying to encourage you to do something in whatever way, shape, or form that you can, because we're losing way too much too fast. I just want to be part of saving what's left. Okay, thanks. I'll see you next time.